All right, to help me dissect about this matter on the African Union Commission chairmanship job is a political and communication expert, Mr. Bushebi. All right, let's get into the first question. Is it the Kenya Kwanza's mission to get Raila out of the local politics?
Of course, it's their mission. All through, this started when Raila Odinga, President William Ruto defeated Raila Odinga in 2022 during the general elections. Raila Odinga went to court and said he does not agree with the elections. There was a proceeding in the courts, and the courts ruled in favor of President William Ruto. President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua were sworn in as the head of state and the deputy. That happened, then immediately it was followed by chaos. The popular maandamano, punguza unga and stuff like that. So the country was unstable politically during that time, and it got so worse that some of the opposition leaders being led by Raila Odinga insinuated or opined that, or disclosed that their lives were in danger. Then during that time, several Kenyans were killed. It was so bloody that we thought perhaps maybe something worse is going to happen.
Yes.
Kalonzo Musyoka went into hiding, Raila Odinga disappeared, and they were all fearing for their lives.
Yes.
What we didn't know is that during that time, there was a high-level meeting, or high-level meetings that were taking place during that time, and we saw delegations from EU, we saw delegations from United States, meeting Raila Odinga, meeting Kalonzo Musyoka, meeting William Ruto. And then there was a meeting when former president of Nigeria showed up, Olusegun Obasanjo, and there was a meeting between President William Ruto and Raila Odinga, and there was an agreement which was never made public, but I remember saying that you will see the effects of the agreement from that time. And so, in the agreement, Raila Odinga needed an exit plan from all this madness. It can't just be that Raila disappears after that. So, what next with Raila Odinga? So, they had to come up with an exit plan. How does Raila Odinga get out of this opposition and local politics? And so, in exchange for peace, for President William Ruto to govern the country. And so that is how the agreement was. And we can see the agreement right on our faces. They had an agreement. Of course, there are other allegations that Raila Odinga was paid. But we don't know about that. They're just allegations. But what we know up to now is that there was an agreement between Raila Odinga and William Ruto.
Yes.
Yeah, on the exit plan for Raila Odinga. How will Raila end this? Will he end as a local opposition, veteran opposition leader, or is he exiting the local politics to go to a higher level, and that higher level is the AU chairmanship job? So yes, Ruto and his team would really love and are really working hard to give Raila Odinga an exit plan to make sure that this exit plan they agreed on with Raila Odinga, that he should exit politics, local politics, happens. Of course, there are benefits for both of them.
Well, Mr. Bishop, you just mentioned something. President William Ruto and his team are really pushing for Raila Odinga to go to Addis Ababa. Even we've seen last Wednesday, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi saying it's time that Africa needs Baba. Well, this bid, it's being pushed. Can you at least, what are the significance of this bid to the Republic of Kenya?
Of course, like I said, there are benefits for both sides, leave alone Kenya. The benefits per se are going to, bless Raila Odinga and William Ruto. William Ruto in the sense that he's looking forward to re-election in 2027, and Raila Odinga looks forward to exit from local politics. So it's a win-win situation for both of them. That is the number one benefit.
Yes.
Number two is the geopolitical, position of Kenya in this whole matter if Raila Odinga wins this thing. You see, AU or Africa Union is a political and economic organization.
Yes.
Such that its functions are to safeguard the sovereignty of countries, and at the same time create unity among African states or member states of the AU.
Yes.
And then also open up markets and do business and make sure that Africa is prosperous. And so having one of your own as the boss in that office, you know, gives you an added advantage. For example, we saw the other day EU, that is European Union, signing a deal with Kenya. And we talked about trillions worth of markets being opened up for Kenya. So you can imagine if this is, you know, you have your own guy who is the boss of AU, you know, and markets are being opened up in other regions. So this is the African bloc, you have European bloc, you have North America bloc, you have, you know, you have all these blocks, and now markets are opening up. You see, it gives you an advantage. The first people to know, of course, will be you as Kenya, that hey, we have number two, it's safeguarding the sovereignty of African states. We've seen the AU diplomatic activities. We've seen former President Uhuru Kenyatta in South Africa. Yes. You know, just his presence alone, and you know, trying to oversee, not overseeing, but to monitor the elections in South Africa. That is the work of AU, just to make sure that democracy is sustained in countries. We've seen the work of AU in South Sudan. We've seen the work of AU in Congo. We've seen the work. I mean, AU plays a huge role in safeguarding the sovereignty of African countries, in creating unity and maintaining democracies and peace. We've seen the role of AU when Kenya was at the brink of death in 2007. Yes. So AU is a powerful body, and there are so many benefits that Kenya would have. Of course, there's the issue of image. You know, having the AU boss in, you know, gives Kenya the brand that it deserves globally, and respect that Kenya deserves globally. Listen, in geopolitical matters, or even in, you know, right now we are talking continental politics. Yes. Image is everything. Yes. Image is everything. It's an illusion of power. How other countries view. That's why you see when President William Ruto went to United States and he didn't use the Kenya Airways, Kenyans were like, hey, listen, you're jeopardizing our image. That's not... You see, image is everything. Image is everything in politics. When I say everything, it's everything in quotes. That means that image can give you what you're looking for. Right now, the image, when we mention United States, the image that comes into your mind is, you know, power. Yes. So that is the image that Kenya is getting. Kenya is becoming a superpower. And one of the ways that you will showcase that you're a superpower is by controlling such bodies as Africa Union. Yes. Well, Mr. Bishebi, Raila Odinga, during a presser with Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, said he was interested in the Africa Union Commission chairmanship, and he was shocked, the Kenya Kwanza, backing his bid. Well, politically, what does Raila stand to gain if his bid will be successful? Raila Odinga was not shocked. He said he was shocked, but I'll disagree with him. He wasn't shocked. This was an agreement, an exit plan agreement between him and President William Ruto. Perhaps he was shocked that people like Kimani Ichung'wah, who were not privy, they didn't know what was going on. People like Rigathi Gachagua, who had said they'll put traps in status. Will not access. Yes. So perhaps maybe those are the people who can shock. Raila Odinga will be shocked to hear someone like Mudavadi, someone like, you know, Gachagua, Kimani Ichung'wah. Those are people that Raila Odinga would sit back and like, wait a minute. Hawa watu wamewekwa box pia. But of course, Raila Odinga and William Ruto knew all along what was going on, knew the agreements. Obasanjo knew about it. And of course, the envoy from the West, they also knew about this agreement. So, number two, to answer your second part of the question, is that what Raila stands to gain. Number one is that's the best retirement package you can ever take home. Yes. Yes. After you know, vying for presidency 5 times, losing. No, not losing.
Stolen.
Not losing. Raila Odinga did not lose elections in 2007. Raila Odinga won elections in 2007.
What happened?
It was taken away from him. That is a known fact. History has facts, and you can't fight with facts. I don't know about other years,
Yes.
but one thing I'm 100% sure, and every Kenyan knows for sure, is that Raila Odinga won the election of 2007. And hiyo naye alinyang'anywa. Ushaekewa nyama kwa mdomo hivi na mtu akakuja akachukua. That is what happened with Raila in 2007. So no, I don't believe that he lost all elections. I do believe that there are some elections that or one election that Raila Odinga won, and so to say that he lost elections, I think it's not fact. So that is what I can say. Now, what he benefits from all this is the fact that he is now able to retire as a statesman, and not just a statesman. If he wins, that is. No, we are talking as if he has already won. Let's put the if
he wins.
The if factor in all this.
Yes.
If he wins, then Raila Odinga has the best of retirement package for him and the generations that come after him, because his father, Jaramogi, gave up, and he rested without going a notch higher. He really wanted to be president, but he couldn't. And he rested before he could go a bit higher. But you see, Raila Odinga has tried to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. Despite all the efforts, we haven't had a Raila presidency so far, but we've only had the people's president as Raila. But constitutionally, we don't have anything like that. So giving him the AU presidency is a plus for him. It's a plus. Raila Odinga doesn't need money.
Yes, he already has money.
He has money. Yeah. Raila Odinga is Odinga's family is a dynasty. It's rich. It's rich, and he doesn't need money. He's not doing this for money. This is what we call self-actualization. You've achieved all the basic needs you can achieve. You can afford food, clothing, and shelter. Now you've gone to another level where you can afford luxury. You've gone to another level where you have achieved power. Now you just want to sit back and enjoy everything that you've worked for, the last years of your life. And I think Raila Odinga, for him, this is the best exit plan from local politics if he wins. Number two, it's the best retirement package for him as an international man. Somebody who has a lot of say in international issues, and it will put him on the tables with some of the biggest it put him on some of the biggest platforms of this the global platforms that we have today. It's going to elevate him to that level, and so he has achieved. If he wins this thing, then he has the best package home.
Well, Mr. Bushebi.
Yes.
Moving on, just like the former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is being told to shun away from the country's politics since he is retired, will this be a requirement for Raila Odinga if he clinches the Africa Union Commission chairmanship seat? Will it be a requirement for him to shun away from the country's politics?
It is a policy. Because when number one, I believe it's a policy. Number two, I think it's a moral obligation for Raila Odinga if he wins African AU job, chairmanship job.
Yes.
I think it's just a moral obligation that he stays away from local politics and interfering with the internal affairs of running of governments, not just Kenya but every other government. The AU is a both political and economical organization.
Yes.
And the objectives of AU is to bring unity, create coexistence,
yes,
and safeguard the sovereignty of countries. And so I think Raila Odinga would have to play a moral role in making sure that he's not seen as the person again who is spearheading that disunity that AU is against. Shouldn't be seen as a person who is creating political instability in the countries, not just Kenya, in the countries,
yes,
where the AU is against such actions, and so he's going to have a tight rope around his mouth when it comes to internal affairs and local politics. And yes, I think it's policy, and at the same time, I think it's moral obligation for Raila Odinga not to really. He's going to choose his words this time. He's going to know exactly what to deal with. But he still has proxies. He has ODM. He has these people whom, if he wants, is to air out his opinion and add some weight on the matters, because pia Kenya ni nchi yake, kwani akienda yeye na ama Kenya ni Kenya pia ni kwake. Akiona mambo inaenda mbaya, he has to speak.
Hata alisema Addis Ababa si mbali. Exactly.
But again, he'll have to choose his words. Like you've seen for a few days when he tried to talk about the finance bill 2024. It takes a lot of time before he can even talk about it. Trust me, if it were Raila of just immediately after 2022, ungekuwa na maandamano sahi. But you see, he's taking a lot of time to think and rethink and go through a lot and weigh a lot of things, because he just can't come out and castigate the president right now or talk about the local matters, because he's already functioning as the AU. He has to carry himself as that kind of a person. And I think he'll have to respect the sovereignty and the politics, the local politics of Kenya, just as much as you do the same with Uganda and Rwanda, and so that other countries cannot sit back and say, hey, this man is causing instability in his own country.
Yes.
What about the rest of Africa? Yes. So it's a tight situation for him, but knowing who Raila is, Raila ni kama I don't know, unpredictable. The way spirits work. You don't know, it's like wind. You don't know whether it's coming or going. You don't know where it's coming from and where it's going. So while these laws and policies would be there, don't be shocked to hear Raila Odinga in local politics. Yet is the AU chairman if he wins the seat. But I won't be shocked. Knowing who Raila is, if you follow the politics of Raila, who expected Raila to castigate William Ruto during the floods? Nobody. He just woke up one day, nobody expected him. He shows up and he says, this serikali hajui kitu inafanya. Na yani goes away. And so Raila is someone that you can't really predict. Even while you tell him, bana, don't talk. Ni kama hii siasa, it's a spirit. Hey, if you don't do siasa, ni kama roho yako kichwa inaweza ruka. Yes.
Well, Mr. Bushevi, this is not the first time Kenya is making a bid at the Africa Union chairmanship. We had Ambassador Amina Mohamed, and she suffered a painful loss in Addis, and there was a sense that Kenya's neighbors had betrayed her. What lessons do you think Kenya take away from this experience?
There's no lesson. It's a competition, just like an election. There's a loser and there's a winner. And this boils down to what I was talking about when I talked and said that you need to understand politics, and especially continental politics. Yes. Continental politics, like the way Gachagua says, bottom-up approach in this politics. It starts from the ground. What you see happening in your village in terms of politics is the same thing that happens on a larger scale, for example, like continental politics or global politics. It's the same principles. It's about interests. If Uganda feels that Kenya's interests do not favor Uganda's interests, they'll vote against you.
Yes.
If Somalia feels like you're not going to benefit anything from Raila becoming the AU, they will vote against Raila. When Rwanda feels like, I don't think we're going to benefit a lot by they'll vote against.
Yes.
So it's a politics of interest. You have, that is why you've seen Raila Odinga moving up and down, and you've seen Musalia Mudavadi, William Ruto. They have been moving around trying to sell the interest. Hey, listen, if we vote in Raila Odinga, you'll get this. Okay? Raila Odinga will do that. Like Raila Odinga. So you have to campaign to the president.
Yes.
Like the way mwanasiasa huwa anakuja kupiga campaign mahali. It's the same way you also travel and go and campaign kwa anaitwa nani, Kagame. Unatangaza nitakuwa huko siku fulani, Kagame kuja, this what do you want? Kwambia sisi shida zetu as a country ni hii na tunataka hii na hii na hii. Can we believe Raila Odinga to deliver this? Okay, sawa. So if you agree, it's a matter of interest. If they agree and they have trust in Raila Odinga, they'll automatically vote for him. But most of the times you'll see that if the interests do not match, even if a country will say or a president will say that they are going to support you, support is different from voting for you. So you find that the day of voting, they won't vote for you because they don't believe in you. Maybe they believe somebody else who can serve better and has the interest of Africans more than this person. So there's no lesson. It's just politics at the end of the day. Remember this one thing, Maish Msimbi.
Yes.
Africa Union is a political and economic organization. The aims is to safeguard the sovereignty of the African states or its member states. Number two is to create markets and to bring unity and prosperity of Africans. So those are the interests. If you master those interests and you are able to convince the member states that, hey, listen, I can take this to another level. I can make Africa prosperous. For example, in Africa today, you need more than 15 visas to travel around. 15. It's only in Kenya where you need to apply for what they call ETA, electronic transport something. It's a license for you to come to Kenya. But in other countries, you have to apply for a passport, you have to get a visa, you have to... So you might be carrying visas just to move around Africa. Yet we have Africa Union. We have Africa Union. Do they have an agenda for opening up borders so that I can have one visa, African visa, AU visa, that I can use to get to Rwanda, I can use to get to Uganda, I can use to get Nigeria. I don't need to go and they punch and get visas, wait another 7 days, wait another 20. Do no, we've denied your visa. No, you can't come in here. Take for example, European, Union is just a mother or sister to Africa Union. It's the same blocks coming together. These European countries, I think there's a zone called Schengen zone, where you only need an EU visa. In fact, you don't even need a passport or a visa. You can walk freely. It's like you just walking to Uganda. It's like, bado you are in Kenya. It's like you walking in Tanzania and USA because of the EU, the European Union. Why can't we have the same in Africa? Why do you need a visa to go to Rwanda? It's only Kenya that has opened up its borders. Right now, you don't need these visas. Ruto alifungua, you don't need the visas to go to Kenya. And so, those are some of the things Africa Union should be looking at. And so, whoever comes up with the best plan for this, perhaps maybe the member states will sit back and say, wait a minute, so we can just take gold from Congo and it goes through, we don't have to go through hell just to do business, stuff like that. Number two, there's the sovereignty of African states. Tunaingiliwa na Western countries. And it's not just the sovereignty in terms of boom, boom, guns and bullets and nini. No. Right now we have something called economic dictatorship, where it's the World Bank and IMF that is drafting budgets for African states. And they force them and they tell them, we are suffering from that in Kenya. Who is going to protect African states from people like IMF and World Bank? We need our own.
Yes.
We need our own to protect us. And you see, you can't fight World Bank or IMF as a single unit of a country. Africa as a continent needs to fight together. There have been allegations that Africa Union is the most toothless dog on earth. inchi kama Congo watu wanapigana huko wanamaliza, and they know where the problem is, and you don't see any action. They can't take any action. And then Africa Union has also been used. Kuna wakati walifukuza watu huko West Africa, wazungu fulani West Africa. I don't want to go deeper into that. Where was Africa Union? They were being used to go and subdue and interfere with the internal issues of that country. Look at what's happening in Haiti. With all the colors of words that the President William Ruto is talking about. What are we doing in Haiti? Why are we interfering with the issues of Haiti? Where is Africa Union? Is Africa Union saying anything about it? Has Africa Union issued a statement about Kenya interfering with the internal matters of Haiti? 13,000 kilometers away from Kenya. Has Africa Union talked anything? And who is spearheading this? It's a Western country, United States of America, that has told Kenya to go and be the face of America in Haiti, to interfere with Haiti. Who destroyed Haiti? It is America itself.
Yes.
So these are the issues, and so it's serious complication of politics, which I think, I don't know if Raila will manage, but it's crazy. All I can say is that it is a crazy thing.
Well, Mr. Bishop, as we wrap up this topic, would you agree with the analogy that Raila Odinga is a master of reinvention, or rather inventing himself?
I've studied Raila Odinga, not just Raila Odinga. I've studied so many these political leaders who've really been reinventing themselves. I studied Moi and how he was able to be the president for 24 years. You know, that thing still baffles so many Kenyans. How can you just be a president for
24 years? Yeah.
At least for Ugandans, they are used to it. And, you know, it's beyond human understanding. There is no single thing that you can point out and say, hey, listen, Kenyans, this is why Raila Odinga has been able to be around, worked with all presidents. In fact, there was a show we were doing with Rida Chebet on PLG, and I was telling her, Ruto cannot beat Raila. The best way to beat Raila is to shake hands with him. Raila has worked with all the presidents. He's been in all governments. He doesn't need to be elected by the people, but he will be in government.
Yes.
There are quite a number of reasons. Number one, Raila Odinga has the networks, international networks.
Yes.
Number two is that the financials of presidential candidates usually finance both sides. The same person financing the opposition is the same person financing this other side. So you might find that there's one financier financing both the campaigns of William Ruto and the campaigns of Raila Odinga. Either way, he wins. And so when Ruto becomes president, Raila Odinga will be used to make sure that Ruto delivers what they had agreed with the financier.
Yes.
That financier can be you, can be a Kenyan.